And now we're going to start with the Hall of Fame portion of the night. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce Miss Mal Lannon-Cotton, who will begin the evening with the announcement of the inductees. So here you go, Miss Lannon-Cotton.
Thanks. Good evening, and thank you, Dr. Harrison and Dr. Cron. Tonight, we will induct 3 RHS alumni into the Academic Hall of Fame. Before we do, I'd like to recognize a few people that are in the audience, in particular, and he's already been mentioned, but I would like to recognize Mr. A. Scott McKinley, former RHS principal and one of the guiding forces in establishing the Hall of Fame back in 1988. Also, Mr. Richard Phelps, class of 1959, who, along with his wife Ann, have been guiding lights in supporting and promoting the Rockland Public Schools and the Academic Hall of Fame. Other Hall of Famers in the audience are Mr. Frederick Damon, class of 1982, and Miss Kathy Paulding, class of 1990. So congratulations to them. And I don't know if I missed any other Hall of Famers, but you can tell me later. Also here with us tonight are 2 retired Rockland High School faculty who have come back to see their former students. Mr. Stephen Bell and his wife Susan. Mr. Bell was the band director at RHS for 34 years. Also, Mr. Robert Niffen is here with his wife Candy. Mr. Niffen was our chorus, drama, and music director for 34 years. And now, on to this year's inductees, who will join 99 RHS alumni, along with 3 honorary members who have been inducted into the Rockland High School Academic Hall of Fame. Tonight's inductees are an outstanding group and represent some firsts, as we will hear. Our first inductee tonight is Dr. Kara Strobel, class of 2007. Kara has the distinction of being the first graduate, Mr. Rowe pointed this out, of the 21st century to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. I'm sure there will be many more, including some of you. Kara is one of 3 children of Carl and Kathy Strobel. Her younger brothers, Brian and Kevin, graduated from RHS in 2010 and 2013, respectively. The Strobels have been very much a part of the educational community in Rockland. Looking at Kara's career at Rockland High, she is one of our most well-rounded inductees. Kara was co-valedictorian of her class in 2007 and was fittingly voted most likely to succeed by her peers. She was also a Miss Rockland nominee, which again is an honor bestowed by her peers and shows how much they thought of her as a fitting representative of Rockland High School. Her activities in high school also included being a member of the National Honor Society, Student Government, Academic Council, the Yearbook Staff, and Key Club. She attended PCC and Girls State and received many awards and accolades as a student during her 4 years at RHS. She played saxophone and bass clarinet in the band and served as band council president her senior year. It was the band, she says, that was probably her favorite activity. She participated in band from 4th grade all the way through graduation. She spoke about gaining leadership and communication skills and also many lifelong friendships through her participation in the band. Her band teacher, Mr. Bell, said about her, she was dedicated to being part of the band and was always willing to take on extra work when it came to preparing for concerts, band camp, and parades. She was one you could always count upon, a great and positive influence on those around her. That was all in high school, and I'm not done yet. After graduating from RHS, Kara attended Providence College from 2007 to 2011, received a bachelor's degree in psychology, graduating magna cum laude in the liberal arts honors program. From 2011 to 2013, she attended Bridgewater State University, taking post-baccalaureate classes required for admission to medical school. Starting in 2008, she worked at Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston in the Department of Newborn Medicine. Her experience at Brigham and Women's included research assistant, patient care assistance, and unit coordinator. In 2015, she entered the New York Institute of Technology College of Osteopathic Medicine in Old Westbury, New York. She did her residency at Good Samaritan Hospital Medical Center in West Islip, New York, from June 2019 to 2022, and was chief resident from 2021 to 2022. In the summer of 2016, Kara was a medical team member on a medical mission to Cusco, Peru. The team provided basic health care for 1,200 patients who had limited financial resources. She also mentored a first-year medical student as part of the Big Brother, Big Sister program in West Islip, New York. Kara came home to the South Shore in June of 2022, where she now is a family medicine physician for the Harvard Medical Faculty Physicians at Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center. She has her practice in Plymouth. Dr. Kara Strobel, for all your accomplishments, past, present, and future, we are pleased to induct you into the Rockland High School Academic Hall of Fame. Come on up, Dr. Strobel. I'm going to give you this.
Okay,
and
wonderful.
We're going to pose for a picture,
Sounds
and
great.
then you can do your selfie.
Okay, beautiful. Hi, everybody. All right, I'm going to forget that there. Okay. All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Kara Strobel. Thank you all so much for having me here today. I have attended a handful of these ceremonies as a student at Rockland High School, and I never expected to be kind of on this side. So it's really a special moment to kind of be on this side. It's hard to believe that my time at Rockland High School ended 16 years ago. It feels like so much has happened since then, from my undergrad to my post-bac, medical school, and my COVID-filled residency. But the journey began here in the older version of this building. The first time I ever articulated that I wanted to be in medicine or attend medical school was actually in Mr. Grimmett's AP US History class on the first day. He went around the room and asked everybody what they wanted to be when they grew up. And in my panicked moment, I said, oh, orthopedic surgeon. Knowing what I know now, absolute nonsense. The OR is not my place, not my deal. But it's the first time I really kind of thought about it. You know, it's a question that everybody asks you when you grow up, and it didn't really become serious until we were getting close to college. My journey, as Ms. Lana Cotton kind of talked about, seems a little straightforward, but I probably wouldn't attribute it to being straightforward. I graduated in 2007, went to Providence College with an undeclared major. Didn't really know what I wanted to do. I didn't want to lock myself into a path early on. I kind of forgot what I said in Mr. Grimmett's class. I started working per diem at the Brigham during my freshman year, and although I was absolutely terrified, I loved listening to everything that was going on. I had the aha moment during my junior year, and I kind of figured out that medicine was really what I wanted to do. Hence the post-bac. I got a degree in psychology, so I needed to, take general chemistry, a freshman class. I took it as a senior with a freshman, which was an adventure. I got a new job, became a research assistant, and finally applied to medical school. Started my residency in 2019 in New York on Long Island. It was rudely interrupted by COVID 8 months in, and kind of threw everybody for a loop. I will say I believe myself to have been better for going through it, but I would never want to do it again. I didn't really know initially what kind of doctor I wanted to be. Family medicine kind of came to me. It was one of these things that I very much listened to my experience and let things present themselves to me, so to speak. Although my journey was not straightforward, I do think I'm better for it. The skills that I needed to navigate the journey, I started developing again in the older version of this building. I started learning teaching skills, both tutoring officially through National Honor Society, but also unofficially in the cafeteria before an AP Bio exam. I learned leadership through student government, through Key Club, through band, and even through academics. One of the most important things I learned was how to learn. The material is important, of course, but as you progress in your studies, you need skills to retain, absorb, and use the information. I thank all of you and the administration of Rockland High School for this honor tonight. It was something that, like I said, I quite literally never saw myself doing sitting in your seats today. It's really wonderful to be in the ranks of such esteemed alumni. And if you'll indulge me for one last comment, I encourage all of you to take the skills that you learn here at Rockland High and use them. Education and experiences are only what you make of them. So try your best to act with intention, to recognize opportunities, and to seize them. Even if life doesn't take you in the path that you originally thought it would, keep your head up, your eyes open, and always keep moving forward. Thank you.
For the introduction of our next inductee, I'd like to call up Mr. Robert Niffen. Mr. Niffen, as I said before, was the chorus director, drama director, and music department director for 34 years. He retired, I believe, in 2004. But he hasn't stopped making music.
Thank you. I'm seeing a little bit of a theme here to one of the steps that will help you get into the Rockland High School Hall of Fame, apparently, is to be involved in the music program. It is an honor for me to introduce to you the next inductee into the Rockland High School Academic Hall of Fame, Lieutenant Colonel Domingos Robinson. Before I do so, I would like to thank Mrs. Mal Lannon Cotton and Domingos for help in writing this introduction. Domingos Robinson was a well-rounded student at Rockland High School from 1987 to 1991. He played basketball his freshman year and also was on the track team. He ran cross-country and was named Unsung Hero of the cross-country team as a senior. He also worked at WRPS under the tutelage of Mr. Stephen Budkowitz. At this point, I would like to share two anecdotes that do relate to these activities. First, Domingo was, and perhaps still is, I hope, an avid Celtics fan, and even more avidly, if there is such a word, a Danny Ainge fan. Danny was an outstanding shooting guard for the Celtics during the 80s, and more importantly, Domingos' favorite player. On February 24th, 1989, and I know the date because I looked it up on Google, Domingos showed up that morning in the music room with his hand in a cast. Now, as a flute player, that's not good. As he walked by my office, I asked him, "What happened? Did you fall? Did you get it caught in a car door?" Sheepishly, he replied, "Niff, you're not going to believe it, but the Celtics traded my favorite player, Danny Ainge, to the Sacramento Kings, and I was so mad I put my fist through a wall." Side note, I guess the wall won. My recollection is that the cast was constructed in such a way that he was still able to wiggle his fingers to play his flute. My second short anecdote is that he is continuing his radio work that he started here at WRPS 30 plus years ago. He and his best friend from high school, Brian Cobb, now a professor of music at a professor of music theory and composition at Bellevue College in Washington State, host a podcast called Dude Exactly. They cover a variety of topics, including the best film scores of all time, the most clutch performers of all time, why should I watch Marvel movies? Why should I watch horror movies? Why did we decide to go into music? Among other topics. And I understand that there is a second season in the works. It's a very entertaining podcast, although there is some language that I'm sure you wouldn't hear in the hallowed halls of Rockland High School. However, it was in the field of music that Domingo shined and where his passion was. An outstanding musician and leader in our music department, he played the flute in the band and the jazz ensemble under the direction of Mr. Steve Bell. He also participated in activities outside of Rockland High School, including the Summer Wind Ensemble sponsored by the South Shore Conservatory, and Massachusetts Youth Wind Ensemble sponsored by the New England Conservatory of Music. He also auditioned for and was accepted into organizations such as SEMSBA, the Southeast District, and All-State Bands, which is made up of the finest student musicians in the region and in the state. After graduating from Rockland High School in 1991, he earned his bachelor's degree in music education from Hartwick College and a master's degree in conducting from the New England Conservatory of Music in Boston. In 1998, he won a conducting position with the U.S. Army Bands Program. For the last 25 years, Domingos has led musicians in concerts and ceremonies throughout the United States, Europe, and Asia. His ensembles have participated in presidential inaugurations, multiple head of state visits at the White House, the state funerals of Presidents Ronald Reagan and Gerald Ford, the Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo in Scotland, and multiple televised events including Macy's New York City 4th of July, the National Memorial Day Concert, the Kennedy Center Honors, the Boston Pops Fireworks Spectacular, and the CBS special Songs of Service that won a New York Emmy Award. A member of the Recording Academy, Domingos has been music director and producer of multiple recording projects, including executive producer for the Grammy-winning album Soundtrack of the American Soldier, the first Grammy win for a military band. He currently serves as the deputy commander and assistant conductor of the United States Army Field Band in Washington, D.C. For all his accomplishments, past, present, and future, we welcome Lieutenant Colonel Domingos Robinson into the Rockland High School Academic Hall of Fame. Can I call Steve up here to get a picture with him?
Yeah.
Presenting Steve? Steve Bell.
Well, I don't write speeches, but I have bullet points. Every night when we perform concerts, about 2/3 of the way through, I have to get up and talk to the audience. And I always tell them that, it's a strange thing for someone who's a very shy person and an introvert to have the job that I have, standing on the podium as a conductor, and then talking to the audience. So while this is awkward for me and even more awkward for you, I am quite practiced at it. So even though I don't have a written speech, I'm sure I'm only going to take a couple minutes. I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame committee for this honor. If you had told me back when I was in school that I would be in the Academic Hall of Fame, I mean, for sure when I got that email, I was like, are you sure it's the Academic Hall of Fame? It's not like, I don't know, Music Hall of Fame or something that I was good at. But, it's more about, I guess, what we accomplished. But certainly, my career in Rockland schools did set me up for success. And before I go any further, what an honor to meet Mr. McKinley prior to the ceremony. Sir, thank you so much for your service, not only to Rockland, but your military service as well. Thank you for your service, sir. Yeah, any success that I've had is a product of course, my hard work. But if it was just hard work, almost anyone would be successful. It really is about all the support that I've had and that I received, starting, of course, with my family, my mom and my aunt are here. And I certainly wouldn't be here without their love and support. So it's good to have you here, Mom. Now, my elementary school, which I guess is just a cloud of dust now, that's Memorial Park. I came by, so in the Army we do recon, right? So I came in this morning, got my rental car. I drove by just to remember where this place is. And, of course, I saw it all gone, Memorial Park. Then I saw this other thing, this school that's new. I didn't know what that was. And then the junior high, which was like a 4-story or 5-story thing, that's gone. And so I was like, what is going on? But then I did recognize the facade here, so I was like, okay, at least I know where the entrance is. Other than that, this place is completely different. So I am glad that the Army taught me to recon the objective, as we say, before I came here tonight. Otherwise, I'd be dragging my mom all over the place. The elementary school, so it started with Frank Bono and my first elementary school teacher, and then his son, Steve Bono, took over, starting in 4th grade there. I remember in junior high, my English teacher, Mrs. Dickinson, she was one of those teachers that, you say, can I go to the bathroom? And she says, I certainly hope so. May I? Yes, you may. And, but she also encouraged us in creative writing, and she was one of the first people to see that there might be something in my brain. So that I really am thankful for her. In high school, English with Mr. Travellini, American Foreign Policy with Mrs. Leahy, Shakespeare with Ms. Nezzarella, Social Studies with Mrs. Mayers, working in WRPS, first doing a really bad classical radio show, and then calling basketball games. I did that for like a couple of years, which is, I don't know what I was thinking, because I do not have a voice for TV. And if you listen to my podcast, I don't have a voice for a podcast either, but Brian and I have a good rapport, so it helps out. So all those teachers and many more, they set the conditions for my success. They taught me what a real education is about. And it's about not so much the knowledge that you gain here, but the how to learn, as the other inductee said, the doctor said earlier. That set me in motion, to be a lifelong learner. Most of my learning happened after I got out of high school, after I got out of college. That's when I really started to actually learn. But all the foundation was set here. But none of this would be possible without Steve Bell and Bob Niffen. And I'm not breaking up being in the Hall of Fame, and that's cool. But I mean, I literally would not have a career if it wasn't for these two guys. So I'm really thankful because I've had a great career. They obviously great teachers, but they encouraged us to be creative and encouraged us to do whatever we felt was the right thing to do. And then they gave us the tools to do it. Mr. Bell and Mr. Niffen turned this high school into a mini conservatory. We had all kinds of private teachers coming to teach us because they knew that they didn't know everything. And so when I and some of my other colleagues outgrew what they could teach us in terms of our instrument, then they brought in experts to help us. And that was, well, I wouldn't have gotten to college if it wasn't for that. So thank you. Thank you, gentlemen, for everything you've done, not only for my career, but I know for my best friend, Brian, his career. He's a fantastic teacher. And for all the students that you encouraged over the years, I really, really do appreciate it. So, again, thank you so much for this unexpected honor. I wish you all, students here, the best of luck. Enjoy your time here with your friends, and really do capitalize on all the opportunities that you are afforded, because you just never know, what opportunities, what doors will open. Just go ahead and charge right through. Thank you.
Thank you, Domingos. Our last inductee will be introduced by Mr. Nick LaCourie.
Good evening. First of all, I'd like to congratulate all the inductees this evening. Mr. Niff and I apologize. I think the music streak stops here, though I think this next candidate enjoys listening to music. So I guess there's some sort of connection involved. Regina Lewis Quirk, class of 1985. Born and raised to a family of Rockland graduates, siblings that are Rockland graduates, decades of family members who all attended Rockland High School. As a student at Rockland High, Regina was quiet, hardworking, member of the cheerleading squad, always enjoyed the company of her friends, whether it be at rallies, games, proms, homecomings. After graduating from Rockland High, she attended Bridgewater State University and received a degree in elementary education. She spent her first few years working in special education, then ultimately transitioned to the business world. Continuing with her passion for education, Regina mixed in the business aspect and earned a certificate in organizational development through DePaul University with a certificate in human resources. She spent nearly a decade focusing on human capital strategies. Now, a little bit of firsthand experience here that we didn't necessarily plan on, but when I graduated myself from college, my first job was at Scudder Investments in Norwell. It was at this time Regina was Vice President of Learning and Development at Scudder. Working alongside her senior leaders, her team did an extraordinary job preparing workers at varying levels to develop skills needed to succeed in the business world. Personally, her leadership allowed me to achieve my first real job goals, pass licensing exams, and eventually manage at that level. To that, I'm always very grateful. Scudder went through a variety of restructures, mergers, acquisitions, as happened in the business world at that time. During her time there, from coast to coast all over the country, Regina helped with those mergers, namely from Norwell through Chicago, through Boston, through San Diego, all leading to success. In 2002, Regina joined Strategic Financial Services and later acquired the practice in 2013, where currently she is the president of the company. As a goals-based financial professional, Regina and her team manage over $250 million in assets, serve households across the United States with offices in Norwell and Westerly, Rhode Island. Regina sits on the board of community outreach at Mountain One Bank, the advisory board of Horizon Investments, and is part of the Cambridge Community of Women. She has also been a member of the RHS Junior High Building Committees, past president of the Rockland High School Boosters, and has served multiple ministries through Holy Family Church. Regina is a loving mother and wife, along with her husband, Mike, who doubles as her business partner, have always served and supported those in the Rockland and South Shore communities. They are active members in Hope Floats. In addition, they raise to donate scholarships to a number of RHS seniors each year that total in excess of $9,000. Since 2016, they have awarded over 35 scholarships to RHS graduates. Regina is also the president of the Rockland Education Foundation, which raises funds annually to award competitive grants to teachers for classroom enrichment programs. To date, the foundation has awarded approximately $1 million in the school systems. Regina demonstrates her commitment to her family, clients, friends, and the community of Rockland in every part of her life. Regina Lewis Quirk, for all of your accomplishments, past, present, and future, we are proud to induct you into the Rockland High School Academic Hall of Fame.
Thanks, Nick, for that introduction, and thank you to the committee members who chose to recognize me for the work that I've done using my Rockland public school education. This is an incredible honor, and I am humbled and grateful to be part of a community that values education as much as I do. Congratulations to all these underclassmen getting an award tonight. Set your own personal goals very high. Explore opportunities when they're presented to you. I'd like to thank my family here tonight, not only on this evening, but my friends as well, along my path to explore for this success, along with my struggles and unwavering love and support that you've shown me. Many here, my friends and family, are Rockland High School graduates who have unique and accomplished stories to tell as well. I especially want to recognize, although you did, Nick, my husband, Mike, my life partner and business partner. Together we raised two incredible men, and we serve hundreds of people seeking guidance to fulfill their own personal dreams and goals through our business of financial planning. Our son Ryan, who's here tonight, he's my personal sounding board and consultant, and my son Jared in heaven, both have made me the best that I can be, and they cherish their time here at Rockland High School, made the most out of it. Being their mother is truly my most important and fulfilling role. With the additional help of my parents and my sisters, I was able to start a career that led me on a journey that I could never have imagined back in 1985. Let me tell you a little bit about that journey in hopes that it might spark some thoughts as you contemplate your future and how to navigate the next chapters. Notice I said the word chapters. There are so many to be written with an open mind that may entail twists and turns and life-changing decisions and opportunities just like mine. It all began in the Jefferson School in 6th grade. My teacher, Mr. McGrath, who is here tonight, saw something in me. He called me in the hall, and he asked me if I would step out into the hall one day, and you never want to get called into the hall. If you get called into the hall, you know it's bad. I was really nervous, but instead, he asked me if I would share my short story that I had written with our school principal, and he wanted to highlight my work. That boosted my confidence, and it made a difference in my life. Remember that story, and remember that man, because he's going to show up again on my journey. Also remember, when given the chance, be the person who recognizes the good work of others and celebrate it. Fast forward, I worked hard in high school, but after I listened to those two inductees, I can't hold a candle to anything that they did. I like to watch sports, but let's just say I was not picked for the kickball team. I was never picked first. In music, I missed that gene too. So you never knew me, Mr. Bell, Mr. Niffen, you didn't know my name. I flew under the radar. I did well in school. I always got an A for effort, but really I focused on my after-school career. So thank you, Dominguez, for mentioning that we all learn at different paces, because I certainly did most of my learning after I graduated from high school. I commuted to college, and I held multiple jobs. My family really did instill a great work ethic in me and my sisters. There I connected with my high school best friend, and she's here in the audience today, and shout out to Janet and Mike Annette, both Rockland High School graduates as well. And remember, I said I had a passion for education, but I also mentioned being open-minded. So after I received my degree in education, another one of my Rockland High School friends, Lori, helped set me on the path to a traditional classroom. And that wasn't for me. There was no way I was going to be staying in a traditional classroom. I just couldn't see myself there. But I just wanted to continue to educate and help folks achieve something new, set some goals, and I loved business. So having a local business here in town, my grandfather actually started the Rockland Garden Center. I spent endless summers, and I was planting tomato plants, sweating my butt off, and watering, and that wasn't the fun part, but the business part really intrigued me. So as you do your summer jobs and you explore colleges, think about what jazzes you up, what gets you up in the morning, what do you like, and what do you like to do? Keep that in the back of your mind, because remember, the road is not linear. It is, there's no guardrails on here. You can change jobs and you can change careers. I did. I started off as a teacher and I took a very different path. I applied for a position, as Nick said, in that investment firm, and I did move through various positions, and I worked across the country, and that was wonderful. I was able to travel and raise a family. But one piece of advice I'd like to give you is to always be networking. Always be networking with different folks, because you never know when your paths may cross again. Those connections are invaluable. I still have many of those connections today. At the multiple reorgs, as Nick mentioned, I had a big decision to make. I had to decide, do I move to Chicago? Do I move my family? I've lived in Rockland my whole life. Or do I make a change? At that same time, I received a letter in the mail asking if I would contribute to the Rockland Education Foundation as part of their Century Club as an alumni. And this was a grassroots program that we've talked about tonight. And back then they asked me for $100. And in 2001, $100 was a lot of money. But I didn't hesitate to think about giving that $100 because of the fortune that I had to be able to give back to a school system that helped prepare me for the life I was now living, which was fulfilling career with endless possibilities. The person who received my check was Mr. McGrath. You remember that 6th grade school teacher that called me out in the hall? He actually received my check that day, and he reached out to set up a meeting so we could catch up. And I was surprised to learn that he too had left teaching. Now, I'm not going to say anyone who's has a passion for education, I don't want you to all to start to decide not to become teachers, because it's an incredibly honorable position. So Jack and I both left to go into business, and again, the road is not linear. So Jack called me several times. I kept saying no, I didn't want to do this. I wanted to pursue a more global opportunity, but he was relentless. And I finally said yes. Our kids were starting school. They were going into sports. I wanted to be the stay-at-home mom. So in 2002, I took that step, and I went to work at Strategic Financial. Again, another life lesson. Sometimes taking one step back can lead to leaps and bounds forward. I credit Jack, my mentor, my friend, and my business partner for pushing me to my limits. I became licensed. Some of you might know the term stockbroker, which is really nothing like it sounds. We really are more financial professionals or advisors. That's the new term these days, so no one uses the word stockbroker. It's financial professional. And Jack and I, we built something really wonderful. We help many people through all phases of their life, both personal and professional. Jack's retired now, but he remains my mentor, and I'm forever grateful to continue the legacy and expand the business that he once started. We now have multiple offices, as Nick mentioned, and I have an incredible team of people. One is a Rockland High School graduate of class of 2015, shout out to Dylan, and the other is Miss Karen for any of you who are in the Chipmunks program. Steve Jobs said, "It doesn't make sense to hire smart people and tell them what to do. We hire smart people so they can tell us what to do." Another takeaway, surround yourself with really good people. There is one additional person I would like to mention tonight. That's my grandmother. And I'm going to hold up what used to be the yearbook back in 1941. This is what it looked like. And 1941 was a very long time ago for my grandmother to graduate. But what struck me when I looked at her yearbook back when I was a young girl, she was born to a family of Italian immigrants, and she taught her parents the English language. She taught them American cultures. And in her yearbook, it said, "Lydia will make some executive a fine secretary." Things have changed. I was blessed to have her for 50 years, and we talked about that statement and how she paved the way for women to go beyond the expected norm. She was remarkable and a big influence in my life. And again, look how far we've come. I'm a true example as a female business owner and CEO of my company. In closing, pay it forward. That $100 donation helped the foundation, but that $100 donation changed my life. I've taken over as president of the foundation from my loving friend, A. Scott McKinley. He didn't know my name in high school. Like I said, I flew under the radar. I never was called down to the principal's office, but he's one of my closest friends these days. He's another person who, through his selfless service, has been a mentor to me. I feel so passionately about giving my time to the Education Foundation to ensure that students like you are afforded the same opportunities as I had. When you give of yourself, you might not immediately see the impact, but trust in the universe. What you give will come back to you many times over and in various ways. Students, your education is the passport to your future. Go collect as many stamps as you can, but never forget where your journey began. Rockland Public Schools can give you those tools to navigate, explore, and uncover things you may not have thought possible if you stay open-minded. If this girl from Rock Vegas can do it, so can you. So start packing.
That concludes the evening for tonight. Once again, I want to congratulate all three inductees. And so the Hall of Fame portion of the program is now concluded. Families and inductees can leave the auditorium if they'd like, or they can stay for the underclassmen awards. Congratulations again.
Congratulations to all the inductees. We're just going to give them a few minutes to file out, and then we'll resume.